Hello guys, as I announced on my previous video, I made this one to talk you about the photo editing. To retouch my photos, I'm using Adobe Lightroom or Adobe Photoshop, but you can do that with any photo editor. There are few simple steps to follow. First, reduce the noise. Then adjust the exposure, the highlights, the shadows, the vibrance to give to the color of your photos a bit more life. And at the end, crop and adjust the angle of the photo. Now let's go to see the practice. I selected 5 photos. Let's start with the first one. This is Gabriele, my cat. He was very young, still very young in this photo. I took this one indoor and there is no flash. As you can see, there is a bit of noise on the background that we can remove very easily. The aperture is 3.5, shutter speed 1/15 of seconds, and the ISO is pretty high for 50. Next one, we are in Victoria Market. I remember I made this one in full auto mode. Here we have the aperture wide open, 2.8, 1/200 seconds the shutter speed, and ISO 100. These two I show you in the previous video of my macro photography, and they are made in manual mode, control for both the shutter speed and the aperture and the ISO, and I use the flash. The shutter speed was 1/500 seconds for both of them, 3.5 the aperture, the ISO is 100 as I use the flash. Let's open these photos in Lightroom, select all the photos, import, and then we go to develop. As I said at the beginning of the video, we are following a few simple steps to make our photo look better. We will reduce the noise first. The noise is the grain that appear on the photo when the ISO is pretty high. So this is not bad in this case. We are not going to eliminate the grain totally, as we will lose the sharpness and the detail in the photo. So we just reduce that. Let's scroll down on the sharpening section and we will increase the luminance. Look at what happened if I remove the grain too much. I lost lots of the details. 10 is pretty good. Then I will fix the exposure. This photo, for my opinion, is pretty well exposed. But look at the Instagram. The mountain should be more on the right side. On the right we have the highlights, and on the left side we have the dark areas. Let's increase the exposure a little bit, 20, and also the shadows, but at the same time I will reduce the highlights to bring back the details on the white areas. I will increase the vibrance as well. Let's see before and after. Okay, we can't see too much difference. As I said, the photo for me is very well exposed. The light is pretty nice. Now in Adobe Lightroom I have this beautiful tool, that's the adjustment brush. I use this to make this side a bit more bright. So I take the show selected mask overlay, just to be sure where I'm going to use the brush, like this. Now I will increase the exposure and the shadows as well. Deselected the brush. I'm ready to crop the photo, and at the end I can create a vignetting to highlight the subject more. Okay, and I'm very happy with that. Okay, so we can move to the next photo. The same, reduce the noise, but not too much. 10 as well. This is just 100. The ISO is is only 100, so it's very low. And we didn't touch anything before. 10 and the vibrance. Now we'll increase the shadows. Look at the background, the dark areas, the building. It's completely dark, and now the details come through. I remove the highlights here, a bit more of exposure, and the last 20 will be nice, fine. And we will create the we crop first, and we will create the vignetting. Okay, and the vignetting here. And let's move on the next one. Just we start with this one, a macro photo. We'll just crop on the subject straight away. And increase the vibrance. Reduce the highlights. Let's see if I touch the clarity. I will remove a bit the clarity, just not too much. And it's pretty good like that. Let's see if I increase the shadow, what happened. Okay. A bit of a contrast, and then the last one. I don't touch I will not reduce the noise on this one, as I don't want to lose any detail. And I create the vignetting. I can crop a little bit more. And the center, like this. Okay. And we can move on the, let's just see the color again. Vibrance. Okay, 20 is enough. And let's move on the last one, just quickly. The same. Let's remove a bit of, reduce the noise here. Luminance 10. Then the exposure. 30. Shadow. 50, pretty good. Highlights. Let's reduce the highlights. Minus 50. Vibrance. 30 or 40, pretty good. Here we will remove a bit of clearance. Zoom in and okay, minus 7, and the contrast as well. I think minus 10, yeah, perfect. Let's crop and the vignetting. This, let's see the difference between before and after. I can increase maybe the exposure a little bit more. I'm pretty happy with that. Done. Once again, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, like and subscribe to support my channel. Thank you, everyone.